Yeah, between you two, tell me about the goose that somebody cooked.
Bill, tell me about that goose.
Well, Daddy brought it home, Grandpa, and I never had cooked one. Mom was in Indiana with Joe, and my cousin was there, was 9 years older than me, and she never cooked a goose either.
Flies on it.
So I cleaned him, picked him, and everything, but I left the honker cord up his neck. And when he got hot, honk.
Kept honking until she took it out of the oven too.
And the cemetery. I remember hearing a story about that.
Oh, that's a long one.
You got new batteries?
I just charged it all the way up.
All right.
Okay, we lived across from the cemetery when I was about 4. Well, from the time I was 4 until I was 12. And the cemetery was right across the road. And it was our playground, our florist, anything and everything. We played over there. They had this mausoleum that no one was buried in. And the door was open, you know, so we went in. That was our jail when we played Cowboys and Indians. One day, Mom hollered, "It's time to eat," and I was in jail, and they forgot to let me out. Where's Ann?
Doing a good job?
Uh-oh. I had to run back across the road.
We had a lot of fun at that cemetery. When we were
Joe
driving
and
movies,
Eve and Delmer and I.
there's so much carload, you know.
And Mom would take us to town
He went to sleep on the way
go
back
to the
home.
movies.
We watched it while I was over.
And,
Halloween scary movie.
And when
he
we
went
got
to sleep,
back
so we
home,
eased
like
him out of
about 2 miles
the
from
car over
our
to the
house,
cemetery.
we were
Right
supposed to
across
call
from my
Mom.
house.
But
Eased him out
if we
and laid
weren't
him on
tired, we'd
tombstone
walk
there.
home through the
Went
cemetery.
across the street back to the house. And
The boys
got a
would
bunch
run
of chains.
ahead and get behind the
pieces of
tombstone,
sheets and
and
things.
Eva and I
We
would
got
get
right all
right
around
even
it.
with their jump out and
On
scare
top
us.
of the tombstones, right on these chains, and shaking those sheets.
He doesn't know we're talking
And he
about
took off
him.
running. He lived 9 miles. They got off there and he says, "Let's go across there." You know, there's a place over there where they was at a kind of a park, like, you know. And one says, "I ain't going across that cemetery." And the other says, "Oh, go ahead. Ain't not going to hurt you." And he says, "Okay." So he started across there and he fell into an open grave. You know, they dug the grave and they're going to have a funeral next day. And the other one, he said, "If you holler, I ain't coming." The first one did, you know. And so the second one did. I mean, and the second one come across there, he fell in the same grave. And the first one reached over, touched him on the shoulder. "You can't get out of here," but he did.
With Dad. Tell about going frog hunting with Dad.
Get close so I can hear it.
Dad couldn't swim without catching frogs. You know, bullfrogs with his clamp gigs, you know, don't kill a frog. And they put him in a sack. Dad was carrying a sack, and he stepped off in a hole over his head. He just kept walking. Just holding the sack up like this. He got to the other end of the where he could come out. And that sack was getting, we had about 15 or 20 frogs in that sack. The sack wasn't getting no heavier. And he heard it, brr, brr, brr. Looked around there, and one of them frogs came out of that sack on a hole, sitting on top of the sack and was croaking. And he tied that hole up.
Yeah. Well, Dell told me to ask about how you and Dell got along, and something about a fork. Did a fork stick in his head?
A fork! Oh! We were eating dinner. I was 13, I guess he was 15. And we had a hot dog on my plate. And he'd already eaten his. He reached across the table and got my hot dog. And I picked up my fork and threw it at him, and it stuck in the forehead. So he never stole anything off my plate again.